One sponsor request, $49,500, gone, the hospital project cost of change trap. The PMP exam loves to test how project life cycles shape the financial impact of a scope change. You can read the textbook chapter, understand the theory cold, and still get tripped up the moment a situational question puts you inside the story. Students mistake flexibility for permission to change everything late in the game. I made that mistake myself early in my career on a healthcare infrastructure rollout, and it cost me more than I want to admit. I am Paul, 25 years as a PMP, and I have run projects from construction sites to software launches. Years ago, I rushed the defining stage on a $10 million hospital project with 4 distinct phases. When you let major requirements stay fuzzy early on, you are quietly building a financial time bomb for the delivery team. Here is the thing. Making a critical change early costs almost nothing. Discovering the same problem right before handover is a different story entirely. It can drain your management reserve and stall your career momentum in the same afternoon. Your sponsor sees a cost curve climbing past everything the charter promised, and that conversation is never a fun one. The official term is the project life cycle. PMBOK defines it as the series of phases a project passes through from start to completion, typically initiating, planning, executing, and closing. At the start, risk and uncertainty sit at their highest point simply because you know the least about the work. And here is the part most people miss. The cost of making a change is at its lowest right there at the beginning. I used to think managing risk meant staying alert during execution. The phase gate review taught me otherwise. Locking requirements down early is what protects your baseline. Before we get into the numbers, think about your own last project for a second. How much did an unexpected scope change actually cost you? It does not need to be a perfectly audited figure, just a gut sense. That reflection is going to make the next section land differently, because we are about to walk through the exact life cycle cost logic the PMP exam uses to separate prepared candidates from everyone else. Miss this logic, and scenario questions about late changes will quietly tank your score on exam day. Let us map this onto a $10 million hospital build. You are leading the project, and a stakeholder requests a change to the structural blueprint. If that request lands during the initiating phase, changing the design layout takes a few hours of drafting, nothing more. I handle moments like this by asking one question first. How many hours does this actually take right now? At this stage, the answer is almost always small, because no materials have been purchased and nothing has been built yet. Now watch what happens if that same change waits until execution or closing. The early fix costs $500 in architectural drafting. Delay it, and you are tearing down finished walls and rerouting copper plumbing already in the ceiling. That same $500 fix becomes a $50,000 rebuild. The math is simple and unforgiving. 50,000 minus 500 equals $49,500 in pure rework cost, all from timing alone. On the exam, the correct answer to a scenario like this is B, the cost that rises. Here is what I see most often, and it is a mistake I made myself early on. Candidates assume an agile or adaptive approach means late changes carry no financial cost. Flexibility is not the same as free. Physical constraints and baseline commitments do not care what methodology you use. The other trap is treating every phase as equally open, which lets incomplete definitions slide into active delivery. What protects you is simple. Anchor to the principle that the impact of change grows over time, and set a real phase gate at the end of initiating and planning. The exam likes to put a powerful sponsor in front of you, demanding a major scope change during the closing phase. It wants you to pick the answer that favors keeping the sponsor happy over following process. Do not take that bait. The exam is testing your grip on integrated change control, full stop. A real project manager might worry about the relationship first. The exam wants you to evaluate the cost impact and follow the formal change procedure before anything else moves. Here is your first scenario. During the executing phase of a global event launch, a key stakeholder requests a fundamental change to the venue layout. What is the most likely impact compared to making that same change during initiating? Option A, lower risk of implementation. Option B, it costs significantly more to implement. Option C, no financial difference if using an adaptive approach. Option D, it bypasses integrated change control. Take a moment. Which one would you choose? The correct answer is B. Late changes almost always mean expensive rework, no matter how far into execution you are. Here is the trap. Candidates reach for C, assuming agile frameworks somehow erase the cost of change. They do not. Adaptive approaches change how you respond to change, not the physical reality of tearing out finished work. That confusion between methodology and cost curve is exactly what the exam tests. Let us carry that logic into the next scenario, where we put real numbers behind it. Second scenario, and this time we bring in our hospital numbers. A change costs $500 during planning, but escalates to $50,000 once it hits execution. Which core project characteristic does that jump demonstrate? Option A, risk increases over time. Option B, the cost of changes increases over time. Option C, stakeholder influence increases over time. Option D, project funding decreases over time. Take a moment. Which one would you choose? The correct answer is B. Those numbers, 500 climbing to 50,000, exist to show how delay inflates the cost of a project. Here is where people slip. Option A feels right because uncertainty is genuinely highest early on. But this question asks what the dollar figures demonstrate, and dollar figures measure cost, not risk. Keep those two ideas separate because the exam keeps testing whether you can tell them apart. One more scenario, and this one hits closer to how it plays out on site. Final scenario. A sponsor demands a major structural change during the closing phase of an infrastructure asset. The project manager immediately updates the charter to reflect it. Why is that wrong according to the exam? Option A, only the project management office can update the charter. Option B, closing phase changes need no documentation. Option C, the practitioner bypassed integrated change control. Option D, the project should have been canceled. Take a moment. Which one would you choose? The correct answer is C. The real failure is not the change itself. It is skipping the formal review board before touching the baseline. This is where practitioners and exam takers part ways. I have watched project managers make this exact call under pressure because a sponsor standing in front of you is hard to say no to. The exam does not care about that pressure. It cares whether you followed process. Option A tempts candidates because it sounds procedural, but it misses the real failure. You just worked through 3 scenarios most candidates get wrong on the first pass. That is the point. When I studied for my own PMP, nobody told me the cost curve was a warning, not a chart to memorize. I learned that on a $10 million hospital build, when a $500 fix I put off became a $49,500 lesson. Hold on to that number, because the phase decides what a change costs you. If this helped clear up the life cycle and cost of change, hit like and subscribe. It genuinely tells me what to teach next. For your action step today, pull up your project charter template and check what your phase gate criteria actually require before a change gets approved. I am Paul. Study smart. See you next week.